If you're feeling a bit lost on how to set up your notebook for efficient journaling or note-taking, well, you're not the only one. Having spent 6 years in med school where there was quite a lot of writing by hand, I learned a few tricks. So in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your notebook for maximum efficiency. Hey there, my name is Andreas and yeah, it's nice to have you along with me here. And this is the very method that I'm using in my notebook, so here I'm gonna show you on how to set it up. Initially when getting it, I'm the kind of person who just blatantly abuses it. I prefer to do it just so it stays open better. Starting off, on the back side of the front cover I always write my contact details. This way, obviously, if I ever lose it, it'll hopefully find its way back to me. On the very first page, I tend to write a motivational quote. Now, don't overthink it, you'll have plenty of more notebooks to come, so just go with something. And don't stress too much about bad handwriting, as you're the only person who's supposed to read this, so handwriting truly doesn't matter. Now secondly comes an interesting trick. Right after the title, I'm gonna skip the first fold, and I'm gonna start my page numbering here. As you can see, my notebook doesn't have page numbering, so I'm doing it manually. And as you can see here, for the sake of simplicity, I'm not numbering each and every page, but instead just the right one. And as we skip the first opening when numbering the pages, this means that we now have a nice empty clean space for our index. And I'll start off just by writing index. Yeah, excuse the underline. Secondly, I'll write down the numbering for the pages we just numbered. I intentionally left out the final pages, because this is usually where I'm just jolting down some really kind of scrap things, or perhaps even just test my pen if it's working. Now that the numbering is done, it's time to do the legend. Now throughout all of my notebooks that I have, and yes, I have plenty, all with different purposes that I use simultaneously, I tend to reuse the same symbols throughout all of them, and I'm going to show you them. The first is a square, which denotes a task, which is super convenient to checkmark once the task is done. A circle is an event, such as a meeting I'm planning on attending, or perhaps just a concert that's down the line during my next travel. A small dot is just a note, so this is perhaps the main building block of all my entries I've written down. X marks a thought. Now, this is something I tend to regard more of as something incomplete, something I'm thinking, perhaps an idea. Basically, it's something that's just not as refined as a note. An exclamation mark may be used in conjunction with any of these symbols, as it just denotes that this is of high importance. An L-shaped arrow is mainly used for a further subdivision of something. Let's say my title would be my summer shorts I'm planning to use, then I could use that arrow then to denote the colors, yellow and orange and so on. Now when there's a lot of questions unanswered, or perhaps a topic that I have insufficient knowledge in, I use a decorative version of the letter R to indicate research. And contrary to broad research topics, then for more specific, narrow, or how to say typical questions, I instead use just the letter Q denoting question. Now the letter C stands for consult, meaning that in a way it's a question, but it's a question that can't be answered with just Google or Wikipedia. Instead I have a specific person or an idea of a person who I want to answer that question. Finally, for goal setting, I'm using an M with a long tail, indicating milestones. Basically, I can use this in conjunction with tasks, but further, in a way, it kind of differentiates just regular tasks from what are my actual milestones. Now, with this legend being quite extensive in a way, having it always written down here and using the same legend throughout all of your notebooks kind of in a way allows you to have a quite advanced system of note-taking, which in a way also functions because you will remember how to use it and what all of the symbols actually do mean. And now that we're using recurring symbols, don't be afraid to use them on the index page as well. So for example, if I have a YouTube plan for 2024 and on that very page I have written down some milestones, I might put the milestone symbol here on the index. Another crude example is if we're having an upcoming travel and I need to research what are the good scenic locations, I might mark it with the R here on the index page. And now honestly, I think I've done my part on getting you started on this. However, if you have any suggestions on how to improve this method or how to make it more effective, please let me know down in the comments. Also, if you watched this video this far, you probably enjoyed it, you learned something. Hit the thumbs up button as it really helps this channel to grow. Also, subscribe so you don't miss out on a future junk I post here. Thanks for riding fences with me today, and I'll catch you next time. See ya!